joining us today on Playing the Field. I'm Maria Serrao, and joining me back by popular demand, the one, the only, Mr. Jerry Robinson, JR. So many people on the Hill have seen the last show we did, and they are like, wow, Jerry Robinson, we miss him, we love him. So you are missed.
It's been a while since I've been there. But you know what? I'm glad people are I know, I wish I could see everybody, at least, hi, people.
Exactly. All the residents remember you, Jerry. That's a good thing, all in the South Bay. Now, we didn't get a chance to really talk football last time because we were just like, we were doing our thing. But so this time I thought we would kind of dive in because, Jerry, football's changed, a lot since you played as far as used to be football season. And now football season is like 365 days because if you're talking about the draft, you're talking about guys, free agents, you're talking about, training camp. So football is just, it's a loved sport and fans cannot get enough of it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This game has changed over the decades. Rules have changed. Teams have changed.
Yeah, hugely.
Uniforms have changed. A lot of different things have changed about this game. And, you're really right about it's 365 days. I remember when I was playing during the off season, you actually had an off season.
There's no more off season.
Felt like you had an off season. You could take a cruise or a trip somewhere and get away from the game. But what happened was that some of these younger guys started going right back to working out again, maybe a week later. Some dudes did it the next day. You get your Jerry Rices and these kind of people that they never really took any real time off. And so it started changing. So guys started cutting their off season shorter because for whatever reason, I guess, it paid off for everybody. But back in our day, no, our off season was our off season.
Now, back in the day, did you guys have OTAs like in April, May? No?
No, not early in the, they weren't called OTAs. No, we really didn't have that. But towards the end of my career, we did,
They started doing it?
Yeah, they called it something else. I don't even remember them calling. They didn't put 3 initials on it. It just said you need to be in here.
I was just gonna say, they said make sure you're at the facility for 3 days.
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, sure. It was called mini camp. That's what it was back then. And
I think it was mini camp, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they changed it to the OTAs because I think what has happened is the game has changed so much as far as you got different offensive attacks, you got different defensive schemes, and they need more time to get together to actually learn the concept of what's going on. And that's one of the problems right now with the pandemic going on. There's right now guys have been used to being in a facility, watching tape, watching film, and especially the new guys that are coming in has either been traded or free agents or now at the draft. They get an initiation of the new program.
And so, Jerry, it's interesting you bring that up because that was one of the things on my list. Is we had a chance this week to talk to a couple of the new coaches for the Rams and Aaron Donald, which we'll get into a little later. But the new coaches, I asked them, I said, what is this like for you guys? You're used to being at the facility, especially, like you said, you've got the defensive players, the offensive players, the special teams. Rookies are always kind of learning on their own. And I said, how are you sort of able to make this work? And the one thing that both of them said was, we're spending so much time Zooming that the players are one-on-one spending a lot of time doing this. And he said that I think it was kind of surprising that they're talking a lot. Where he said, when we're together and it's physical, I don't think there was as much talking. But how much time do you need before you got to get physical? I mean, they got to learn. He said, like, we're showing them the schemes and all the stuff, but when are they going to actually apply it? Well,
you know what? The good thing about that is, the coaches you spoke to, they have a real good point because when you're out on the field, if you're not that first unit, you know what I mean? You got to really be paying attention if you're the backup unit, Now, you're in a Zoom cast going on. Everybody's listening to the same thing at the same time. And those veteran ball players who should pretty much know the schemes unless they got a new coordinator going on, they're able to to say things that might help these young guys grasp what's going on because it's all new for them. So
Yes.
I can see the benefits of that type of
Right.
Zoom, those meetings and stuff like that. But nothing's better than actually being on the field and going through it because you're sitting, we're sitting here in a comfortable chair,
Comfortable, yeah.
kick back, you know what I'm saying?
It's not like
You know,
down the field.
yeah, there's a big difference when your mind has to start. You have to make an adjustment on the run,
Right.
you know. So there's pros and cons behind both of them, but what I like about it is that they are serious about getting these young athletes
Right.
acclimated to what's going on because the verbiage is what the hardest part because you coming out of college, you may not have ever heard those terms. Yeah, you never heard those terms before. So having a whole group thing like that, that's pretty cool. That's
How
good.
long did it take to learn that, Jerry?
Ooh. Well, I tell you what, I remember when I went to got drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, when we saw the playbooks that they were handing out to us in training camp, they were so thick. I said, this is what the NFL football, this is just the defense. This is what it's about. It was huge. It was humongous. And, it's a learning curve. It is. It really is. And, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, a lot of people think about football X's and O's, but there's more than X's and O's. There's schemes, there's terminologies. You got to understand the down and the distance and the mindset of your defensive coordinator and what the offensive coordinator is going through. So it's a heck of a learning experience. It's like a crash course. But when I started in the NFL in '79, we had 6 weeks of training camp.
And you had 2-a-days.
And we had 2-a-days with pads, and we hit every day. Yeah. And now it's a little bit different. Now these guys, they can benefit more from the mental aspect of it. Learning the game. They have more time to learn. But there's you can't put a price on the actual physical side of it because your body has to get conditioned for that.
Do you think that 2-a-days was a better way to prepare for the season, or is it better the way they do it now where they've got a morning walkthrough, no pads, an afternoon, I know with pads, and sometimes you wonder, you're like, well, why are these guys getting hurt? I mean, they're not doing 2-a-days.
Well, you know what it is, the way it's set up now, it is, if I was a young man, I'd really be into understanding that it's the mental aspect of the game. That's what you get to benefit out of not all this hitting and going on. You need to learn the game. And the great ball players that I've played with, they studied the game extremely, hard and long, and they knew everything that was going on. So, without pads, you get a chance to concentrate a little more. But the downside of that is, when football seasons start, you see a lot of leg injuries and other pulled muscles and stuff like that because it's okay. You got shoulder pads on and you're not really going full speed, and you're getting your workout in, you're learning the system, and all of a sudden, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm not talking about preseason, but sometimes that happens in preseason too. Now you have to compete against that man in that other uniform. And it's no longer a walkthrough, it's no longer that. So the intensity level, obviously, it ramps up. And also, your body, your muscles, they gotta explode at a different, it's different. It's just different. It's just when that adrenaline gets going and you have to get to that spot, you're not in training camp where you can get there, it's going to look good on film. But now you're trying to get somewhere and there's other dudes trying to get away from you.
It's interesting. And we were talking we touched a little bit on the Chargers last time, but I want to really kind of dive in. Do you know that this is going to be the first season since 2003 that there's no Phillip Rivers? I mean, when I'm like 2003, that was about the last time we did a show before last week. I was like, that is really going to be an interesting situation for them.
It really is because, just from watching Phillip play the game and listening to him, he's a solid leader on that team. I mean, this man right here gets fired up, gets motivated. He knows what he's doing, and that type of leadership right there.
Yeah.
To me, is priceless. But obviously, to the Chargers, they had other plans.
But
Okay.
you know what I wonder though is somebody like Philip Rivers. Like I always wish that he would have maybe left the Chargers maybe like 10 years ago and tried another team. It kind of there's a few guys like a Jake Plummer, and there were a few guys that I felt like kind of stayed at that one party too long.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he should have tried another team where maybe he had better wide receivers around him, maybe a better O line in front of him. But now he's going to go play with the Colts. And let's face it, he's almost 40, or he is 40 or something. And he's Jerry, he's older.
Well, he's getting up there, but to go back to address that, about him, maybe he should have left earlier. You know what?
Yeah.
He's competitive to walk out when things aren't right, because he could see something, and he believed in that these Chargers were going to be moving in a certain direction. I mean, he believed in that. It's like he wasn't ready to throw the towel in.
No.
It's like, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. No, he truly believed that they could get things done, and that's what kept him in. That's that competitiveness in him.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was loyal.
Yeah, he was loyal.
He has like 10 kids, so I always said he has to work because he's got like 10 kids.
Well, isn't he? No, he's going to get a pretty nice little paycheck coming up pretty soon, so he can take care of those things. But you know what? He wasn't getting government cheese back in the day either. So he definitely has to work, because there's a lot of kids. And here's the other thing: he loves his kids, he loves his family.
He does. Yeah.
I'm telling you, to me, that's special, because the game of football, it consumes, it takes a lot of your time, but that's your job, and that's your profession. But especially as a quarterback, because quarterbacks and defensive signal callers on defense, or just anybody that's that intense about the game, it requires a lot. Yeah. And I think one of the hardest things in sports is if you have to miss a special moment in your child's life,
right?
A special event. And so I love the fact that he loves his family so much. And you know what, wasn't he driving around in a van back and forth from?
Yeah, he was actually, he kept his house in San Diego because all his kids were in different classes and what have you. And so he would drive back and forth. I believe it was, I don't know if it was every night, but I think he had a driver, and he said he would just study while he was in the car, and
on his way back to his family.
That's it. That's Jerry, the Chargers have had a really tough road. I mean, I give Philip a lot of credit, because he didn't want to leave those San Diego fans, and yet, it was out of his hands. They come to LA, and it has been a really rough time for them. Now they're going to move into a new stadium. And, I want to get your feel, because what I would have done was to change the name. You got to change the name. First of all, I don't think that I know one reporter who could get through the season without saying San Diego Chargers, me included. I mean, you'll be talking about it, and you're like, and the San Diego Chargers, and you're like, oh my, it's the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
What could they do? What can they do to get their fan base here?
Well, their fan base, I mean, they started originally in Los Angeles. They were the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes. That was like 100 years ago, though.
Yes, that was, yes. Philip might have been only 2 or 3 years old at that time. No, I'm just kidding, Philip.
I wasn't born.
I know, but I had to play with that. And they went down to San Diego, and while they were in San Diego, because when I played for the Raiders, we played them.
Yeah.
Every year.
Jack
and
Murphy
I also played against them several times when I was at the Murph.
Yeah,
with that cannon. The cannon going off.
Scared me to death. The first time I heard that sitting in the press box, nobody warned me. And I was like, I literally jumped out of my skin. I'm not used to that.
Well, I tell you what, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, we came into to the Jack Murphy Stadium, and there was Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow, Charlie Joyner, John Jefferson. We're playing against the Chargers, okay? My first time being in the stadium. All of a sudden, I don't know who it was, might have been Winslow or somebody, caught a touchdown pass, and that cannon went off, boom, first thing I did, I hit the ground. I stayed low. I'm like, I didn't know what was going on. I heard all this noise. I thought I was in some type of ride. It was just a very uncomfortable and scary feeling.
Because
But
it's so loud.
yeah, it's very loud. Matter of fact, they scored so many points that day. I think they ran out of gunpowder. But I do remember that place. Anyway, um, the Chargers, they're going to be the San Diego Chargers for a long time for a lot of people.
It's hard.
It is very hard, and they are moving into, the state of the art, $3 billion, whatever, how big,
Yeah.
it's called SoFi Stadium. Is that what it is?
SoFi Stadium.
SoFi.
Yeah.
SoFi. And the good thing about it for them moving in there with the Rams is that it is the state of the art. I mean, you got two state of the art stadiums. You got one in LA, SoFi, right. Then you got Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So two brand new state of the art stadiums. What's going to happen is, I think the excitement of a new stadium for the football fans, for the Charger fans we're talking about here, is going to drive them into that stadium. I think it's going to drive them because of look at that place. Well, you see it all the time, but look at that stadium. So they're going to drive people. And also, anybody that's playing the Chargers, their opponents, those people they're coming in too. They're just like Las Vegas. They want to go see what the latest, greatest stuff is.
That's true, Jerry.
And the biggest thing the Chargers have to do is that first year, like I said, curiosity or whatever it is, and they have some fans, and I understand that, the place they're going to be jumping in there. But what they're going to have to do in order to keep those fans coming back, they're going to have to win. You're going to have to win football games, and that's what keeps the people coming back. So that's their big challenge.
That's a huge challenge, that's for sure. And so, Jerry, one of the other big stories that's happening, especially in Los Angeles, is all of the teams every year they tweak the helmets a little bit. Sometimes they tweak the uniforms. Well, the Rams have definitely they've tweaked them, and I think it's because it's this new SoFi Rams Stadium, and they decided that they wanted to look a little different. And Eric Dickerson came out and said that, let's just say he said he didn't care for it too much. And
yeah, I saw it.
A lot of the fans, they're very upset because the Rams they have such an iconic logo. Those horns are so iconic. Tell me, in your opinion.
My opinion, okay.
Who has the logo that you cannot mess with? How many teams in the NFL? I mean, you can mess with. I mean, Seattle changes their uniform like every 5 minutes, okay? But there's certain teams that you can't mess with the logo. So it's
Steelers, Cowboys.
Yeah, Raiders.
You
cannot mess with that.
How about the Giants?
Giants, I kind of thought of the Giants, maybe. The Patriots.
Yes, but you know what? The Patriots, they can do whatever they want. It really doesn't. They actually can. But speaking of helmets changing, I remember when the Cincinnati Bengals went through a change. And it took me a long time to get used to it. And I had to accept the fact, it is what it is. The Rams, the helmets that I saw, I grew up, the horn. It was all about that horn.
That's it.
And if I can remember correctly, I'm trying to visualize that picture of the new helmet. The horn isn't the centerpiece or the focal point, to me, of the helmet. There's a stripe down the middle of it. There's a gold freeway down the middle, and there's a little horn on the side of it. I'm used to that whole.
People are thinking it almost looks like the Charger logo and the Ram logo together. So it's kind of.
You know what? I'd have to look at that real much longer than that. But to me, when I saw the helmet, you know what? I'm like, okay, I know there's always changes, okay. And the deal of it is, watch when they get back to another Super Bowl, people forget all about the logo. They'll forget all about that logo. But it is different, I mean, I grew up, with the Fearsome Force from them and the horns but you know what though? It is what it is. It's not going to have an effect on how they change, how they play. But fans and some of the, some other people, I can understand because it is different. It's a big difference from what it used to be. So you know what? I understand, but they'll get used to it.
It's interesting. I had a chance to talk with Aaron Donald over Zoom with some of the other reporters in Los Angeles this week, and the one thing he said, somebody asked him, what do you think it's going to be like playing without fans in that new stadium? And he said, he kind of sat back for a second and said, I don't think it's going to be fun. Do you think you could have played without fans, Jerry?
Um, I would not want to play without fans because there's a certain amount of
Energy.
adrenaline and pageantry and everything that goes along with the fans being there. You know, your immediate thought about playing in a stadium without fans is that it's going to be empty. It's not going to be the same thing. You know, that's the way it's got to be right now, you know, but the game will go on, but, you know, we're trying to make it, you know, trying to make it not clean, but safe for everybody to be around.
Right.
Yes. So.
It'll be interesting too, because it'll just to talk to guys that are in those games, and when they look up and think, oh, that's right, there's nobody here.
You know what? They're going to stop looking up at some point because they're going to get their head knocked off. So they're going to realize, you know, what's really important is what's down here on this field is this 345-pounder getting ready to tear your head off.
That's it.
You know, so, but they will look up in the stands. They're going to be shocked and be like, wow, because they're not used to that. You're not used to it. And, you know, you have to make, that's another adjustment they got to make.
Yes, and I still think the Raiders need to put the cutouts in the black hole, though. They got to do that. They got to put those.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah, they definitely could do that.
You got to call Mark Davis and tell him that, because that's going to be too weird. You've got to see those guys in there.
You know what? I would do that. I would do that tomorrow.
All right, Jerry, when we come back, we're going to talk more football and a little bit of baseball, and I have a little surprise guest coming in for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we are back on air. We're just chatting away here, and I've got the picture I'm going to put up of the three of us. The three of us, that's right. Back in the days, they like to say, the kids like to say, I guess. We all worked together a long time ago. We did a show called the NFL on Cox TV in Rancho Palos Verdes, and I had so much fun with you guys. It was live, first of all, and it was a blast. People would call in, ask us questions, and here we are a few years later. Doug is actually in DC, and Jerry, Doug and I usually do a spring training show in Arizona every year. Of course, he bailed on me this year, but let me tell you something. Be glad that you're on the East Coast wearing that Eagles shirt. And I know you wore it in honor of Jerry, but this loyal Cowboy fan does not put any Eagles shirts on her show.
Okay, well, wait.
It's all good.
I was going to say, Jerry gets a lot of attention out there. He was obviously a Raider where he wore number 57. The reason I put this on was I was going to say there are those of us who remember you as a 56, my friend.
That's right.
And if you go back further, there are those of us who remember you as, is that 82?
Oh, my God. That's my high school. Go ahead, Doug, with your bad stuff. My man, Doug, that's my high school football picture, and I wore number 82. Doug, you're amazing, man. You're still doing it, man.
That's pretty cool, Jerry.
Oh, my goodness. You just made my day, brother.
If you Google Jerry Robinson, you can find a ton of pictures of him. Cardinal Newman High School, UCLA, obviously, Eagles, Raiders. Jerry, I forget how famous you are, man. To me, you're a guy that we bungle through Maria's show together with. But
hey, I'm still that guy. Hey, Doug, I'm still that guy, man. I'm still that dude, man. And it's so good to see you. And I just, you know what? It's been since what, 1990? It doesn't matter. It's been quite a while since I've heard that voice. And when you came on, I was like, oh my goodness, what a great voice. And you know, you got a face to go with it too. So they say some people just got a voice for just radio. No, you got it for TV too, buddy.
That was always my joke when I did minor league baseball on radio. People would say, yeah, you have a voice for radio. I said, radio voice, radio face.
I'll tell you what,
you both have the voice and the looks for TV. Come on now.
And high school hair. Check out this hair. I haven't had the hair with the wings. A little gray now. I got the ears covered.
Have you been like battening down the hatches there? Have you been out yet, Doug, or what are you doing?
We're battened. The reason I popped into your show a second ago upside down with a Lego background. Hopefully you'll edit that out. That was my 9-year-old set that up. I'm getting to know my 9-year-old and my 12-year-old. Everyone's getting to know their wife. You've probably seen the thing on the internet that said, I shut the TV off yesterday, went in the living room. There was a woman sitting on my couch. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice. We're all just stuck in the house. We're getting to know each other in a way that you normally don't have time to do in a family. There are a few upsides to this coronavirus crisis. One of the few is if you're going to be quarantined, I should put it that way, a few upside to being quarantined, is you get to hang out with your family. I've been reconnecting on the internet and email with high school friends. I've reconnected with a lot of people who normally don't have time.
So Jerry, he had time to look you up and find your high school pictures. See, that was good.
That's how much time I had.
You have way too much time on your hands.
Too much time.
So we were talking about the fact that, the players right now, especially, baseball and football players that would be going to these mini camps are having to do it like this. And I had a chance to catch up with some of the Rams this week. And I was asking Jerry, how difficult that would be as a player. But let me ask you guys this. How difficult, not even how difficult, how are they going to practice once they get to practice without there's no social distancing? There's not going to be able to do that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to speak on the football side of this.
Yeah.
There is no social distancing when it comes to contact football. It makes no sense at all. So I feel that they're going to have to be damn sure that all those players that are on that field have been tested.
Yeah.
And if something starts to happen to somebody, if somebody starts to feel weird or feel sick, then you're going to have to take those steps and put them out of there. And so football is one of those things where it's all contact. Although they don't, we laugh about the older guys. We laugh about, we go to training camp and it looks like they're out there in pajamas. They're not hitting anybody, but there's still contact. We joke about it because, like I said, our camps were brutal. Our camps, training camps were brutal. And these kids now, I call them kids, and it's different. But the football side of it, it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle it. And they've been working on this for quite a while. And I'm sure they have some steps and procedures and process that they're going to go through. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in football.
And
baseball.
Doug, baseball, they should be back probably beginning of July. They're working out the details. Right now, there's no spitting, no locker room, no showering.
Scratching? Are you allowed to scratch or not?
No scratching.
I don't know that we can play, Maria.
The whole no spitting thing, I am in favor of no spitting. I don't know why those guys have to spit that much.
I think that's a throwback. And let me back up to Jerry's point on football for a second. Jerry, I used to go to Eagles camp in Westchester. Did you
yes.
Camp Westchester? Hot,
yes.
Low ground, hot. That was brutal. I thought people who haven't seen training camp, you're reading people out. Did you play with Vince Papale?
Yes, I was there Vince's second year. Yeah, so I was there at Westchester State.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember that. I don't remember seeing you there, but I would go there. I took my stepbrother. I'd go. It was a ton of fun. Papale, in the movie, for people who haven't seen it, it's called Invincible. It's about him, Vince Papale. Yeah. And it's a brutal look at training camp. It's got Mark Wahlberg. It's a movie. It's not going to be as violent, but when Jerry talks about spring training camp being brutal, that movie Invincible will give you a good look at it. And about the 6 feet, as I recall, I think in football camp it's -6 feet. You're taking guys, you're taking them backwards 6 feet.
Back up 6 feet for sure.
Yeah. So getting to baseball, I was thinking about that earlier. They've run through a bunch of ways to do this or not do it. Crowd-free baseball, and people are saying, "Well, that word."
No crowd.
No crowd. And some people say that won't be the same. And I thought, will I miss the crowd if I'm watching I'd love to go to baseball games. Will I miss the crowd on TV? Anytime they're panning the crowd, it doesn't interest me. I didn't tune in. I want to either hear Vince Scully or watch baseball. Those two things. And I'm down to one. I'm down to the last one. But so what do we get with the crowd when a foul ball or home run gets caught? That's amusing. Other than that, I don't need to see the crowd.
I was watching the other day on TV. It was a baseball game. It was either in Korea or
Korea.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Korea baseball won.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time, and there was no fans there, and there was, the way that they're going about doing it. But what I found very interesting was that I could watch that game on TV. I'm watching the baseball players. I'm watching the players play the game, and my eyes weren't really tuned into I was looking into the stands just from curiosity because of the situation they were in. And I was okay when I'd have my fans in there, but it went right back to that curveball or a fastball or somebody turning a double play. So I think, the baseball side of it for me, I thought it was really fascinating.
Baseball, the more, as you were talking, of course, NASCAR, I don't think it matters. Tennis, they've been showing. And all they have is the guy up in the high chair that John McEnroe yells at. That's the only person. They don't have. There's no kids to get the ball. When the ball finishes up behind you, you go back and get it. You get your own balls to serve. Those kids who run out and get the ball, they're not there. The kids behind the net, they're not there. So it's like you're back in high school trying to play tennis after sneaking onto someone's court. So, but people are there to watch tennis. And baseball, I'm there to watch baseball. I don't know what this is going to look like. I get irritated by some of the fans, the people in the $300 seats right behind home plate. You see two like teenage kids there, and they've got their dad seat. The dad can't stop, and they're texting.
You're upset because of this? Wait a minute. Hold on. Are you upset because of this?
Yes. Stop. You're irritating me now. They're sitting there texting, and you think I would pay $500 for that seat. You paid $300, and you could be texting it all. So I find it distracting. Sometimes you distract the pitcher. That's Sandy Koufax in the background. Someone raises a white thing and just disturbs the pitcher the whole time. There are things about the crowd that detracts from the game. Heckling. I used to enjoy heckling, but now I'm too old for it.
Doug, are you worried at all about baseball starting?
Yeah, everything keeps getting pushed back. So baseball, I was thinking, Jerry, you talked about testing football players before. I don't know if you test them every day. That's what is happening.
Saying what, every day or every 3 days?
And I believe the test is the same as a flu test. It's not fun. They take a giant Q-tip and it goes up
way up,
almost that high, down low. Yeah. So, but baseball, I thought, what would baseball look like? You've got an umpire and a catcher who are glued to each other the whole game.
They may not do umpires. They might just do everything. I know. Replay.
Oh my goodness.
They've got instant replay. Said no seeds, no bubble gum, no food.
Wow.
So basically, they have to show up in their uniform, go out to the field. Maybe they throw for a couple minutes, play the game, 7:10, TV starts, and then leave the game when it's over, get in your car, and change and shower at home.
Well, and this, you mentioned we would talk about how guys are getting paid, and it's rare for people to feel sorry for how professional athletes are getting paid these days, but Clayton Kershaw, who's supposed to be making $33 million a year, and he's the only guy I think is worth that kind of money out there. I don't begrudge him that. But he's making now, as a top-tier player, I hope you haven't covered this already. There are 4 tiers that major league players are getting paid in. He's in the top tier. The top guys get $5,000 a day. Since the season started, they get $5,000 a day. Instead of, I figured out the math earlier, I think Clayton normally gets $200,000 a day.
Wait, you just sitting at home?
Yeah, buddy. Just like this. Take a look at, it's like the 3 of us. You're getting $5,000. Where's my check, Maria? Jerry, did you get paid? Is she paying you?
Oh, mine was direct deposit.
Attaboy. So Blake Snell, the frontline pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays, won the Cy Young 2 years ago. He says, you know what? That's not worth it. It's not worth it for me. I don't know what he's making, maybe $20 million. He's saying $10 million is not worth it for me. I'm taking on a risk. I got that umpire there. I got some guys still spitting. I'm on first base, and I'm standing by the first baseman who is touching me. There's too much risk. It frankly is not worth it. And a lot of people at first said, oh, what a baby. And then I started thinking about it, and Clayton was quoted on this too, saying, yeah, he may be a little over the top, but he's got a point. And I see that. If there was some guy walk into your rooms right now, coughing and sneezing, and said, let's go sit down and have dinner, you say no. He'd say, I'll pay you $10 million, and we go have dinner. I'm saying no. I don't want. Jerry, can you be had for $10 million? Maybe I can. Maybe I'll put on the mask and have dinner with the coughing, sneezing coronavirus guy. But
you know what? Listen, they're going to have the best medical doctors in the world checking them. If anybody has the slightest sneeze, they're not going to play. And I think this is going to go for all athletes. You know, they're not going to put anybody at risk.
I want Dr. Fauci to be my trainer. I want him in my locker room.
Me too. That's the only way I'd go back.
Fauci.
So it's going to be interesting, though. I'm glad that they're attempting to do this, because I just feel like, I mean, you've got grocery store workers, you've got reporters, you've got people that work at Target you've got people that are working. You've got people that are moving forward to open their businesses. So I say they try, and God willing, it works.
You know what? Me too. They need to try something because, you know, sports is a huge part of everybody's life. Not everybody's, but a lot of people's life. It really does. It takes you away from whatever might have happened during the course of the day, whatever. And sports is very, very, very important. You know, like you said, it's the different sports. I'm interested just to find out how these different sports handle these different things because, like I said, when it comes to football, there is no such thing as social distancing. It's not happening. It's not happening. Now, I can understand in other sports, you know, but they're going to try it, and I'm sure they're going to do everything they can to make sure everybody's safe. And because it's important, because, you know, it's important for our country and for the world actually to see how this can be done.
You know, Jerry, several years ago, Doug and I were covering a game in New York, and your old teammate Ron Jaworski was there.
Okay.
And we told him, we're like, yeah, you know, we did a show with Jerry Robinson. He was like, Jerry,
Jaws.
Number 7.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. You know what's interesting about Jaws? Okay, you know, Ron Jaworski. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I know his last name is Jaworski. And it took me a couple of years to realize, maybe just 1 year, a year and a half to realize why they called him Jaws. I thought it was short for Jaworski, like
That's
Jaws.
what I thought.
No, because his jaw's always moving. Ronnie is always talking. And he's got so much. Now, Ron, speaking of somebody motivating you, when Ron starts talking, he motivates you. There's certain players that just can motivate you, and he was one of those type of people.
Now, what about who on the Raiders was like the biggest? Who on the Raiders was the biggest talker when you played?
Al. No, Al really didn't say a whole lot, but what he had to say had a whole lot to it. You know, we had a lot of characters on our Raider team. I mean, you know, Rod Martin, you know.
Oh, yeah.
When Rod Martin, you know, number 53, when Rod started talking, we started listening. Matt Millen started talking, we started listening. Howie didn't say very much, but he did a whole lot. You know, Greg Townsend talked a whole lot.
Jerry has been doing so much with the Raider organization all these years. Jerry, you're still doing alum events, and you're all over the map.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's been shut down like everything else has been shut down with the pandemic. And last time I was there was 3 days after the Super Bowl. Was there on an alumni appearance with Reggie Kinlaw, and we were there with United Way of Southern Nevada, and we were involved in a program called Character Playbook. And that's the last thing I did there, but I've been there. I saw the stadium starting to go from the beginning to the end. I've been involved in the, you know, they had a Olympic torch run with the law enforcement there. So there's a lot of things happening in Las Vegas. And, you know, we're talking about that stadium. You mentioned the stadium. Oh. I've seen it from the bottom, and now what it looks like now, I mean, you can see it from outer space. It's so something about it. It looks like Darth Vader type something that they would have, you know, and it's something to see. And I can't wait to see this SoFi Stadium in LA too.
Jerry, did you ever play baseball?
Yeah, you know what? I if I have one regret about my athletic travels in life, it is throwing away my baseball glove.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in high school, was the last time I played it. I think I tried it my freshman year. But here was the deal. It was so boring to me. I was
I've had this discussion with you before. I'm coming through the screen after you.
I know, but I can feel you, Doug. I can feel you, baby. But here's the deal. It's just that it wasn't exciting. You know, I'm a teenager, and, you know, I played football, basketball, and track and that kind of stuff. And basketball was really exciting because you got the crowd there. They're not that far away from you.
You're moving all the time. And
yeah. And baseball. And there you go. And baseball, it seemed to be moving slow. But I regret I regret a lot of ever giving up on baseball because I enjoyed baseball. I had a lot of, it was fun at a point, but once I got a little older and started playing other sports, you know, I started realizing there seemed to be a little more excitement. But, you know, I might still be playing baseball now at 63 years old. So, you know,
I know. I got you either in left field or at first base.
I was in center, so I could run all over the field. I could just go. Let me run. Then I pitched too. I love to pitch. I was a sidearm pitcher. You know what? Remember Juan Marichal? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, that high leg kick that he had when he played for the Yes, that was me. I had my leg all up in the air, and I come down with a curve, with a side, you know, throwing sidearm. And then my arm started hurting. So then I played baseball. I just like to run. Let me play center field. The right fielder would get upset. So would the left fielder because I'm taking all the stuff. You know, I'm running, pounce, and the ball's hit, I'm gone. And baseball was fun while I was playing it, while the action was going on. Going through 13 years in the NFL and the 4 in college and stuff, it's just when it started taking that toll on my body, especially after I retired, and I'm like, wow, I was pretty sure that at my age and the 13 years that I played, if I put it next to a baseball player with 13-year career, his body does not feel like my body does. And it's just, to me, I said, you know what, that was a bad decision I made, but I'm happy the way it turned out. But if I could do it all over again, I would definitely.
I think you made a pretty good decision.
It was okay. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. You know.
It worked out for you, Jerry. Look at those beautiful jerseys behind you and that photo, that picture that somebody did for you that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I had a gentleman that was a diehard Raider fan, and he was a great artist, and he painted something for me. I'm trying to get to it without showing too much mess.
Look at this picture, Doug.
This picture right here. Let me see.
All
right.
It's like almost life size.
All right, I got to stand up for a minute, y'all. Okay.
See,
now if I was a baseball player, I'd be able to jump up and sprint to the back of the door.
You're doing all right.
Look at this. This is gorgeous. Wow. Look at that mean look. Oh, I love that.
I saw that one. I saw that picture on the internet today, and I thought there's a caption that says Jerry Robinson stares down an opponent.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's funny. I've seen this with some other people, and Jerry, you're a huge example. You're a big freaking teddy bear. When you're on the field. I hear guys talking about getting hit by you, and I'm like, no, that's not the sweet little Jerry I know.
It was all business, man. Just trying to make sure I got that check coming. Check this out. This is funny. This cracks me up. I think about nowadays, the athletes now, football, and when I played. Now we used to get our game checks sometimes in our pockets. Right after the game, the check would be in your pocket.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And now it's all direct deposit. I guess it's so much money, they don't want to stick that type of check in your pocket. But I'm like, times have changed. I said, these guys got direct deposits. And you know what? Hey, I'm happy for these young guys that are getting what they're getting because, you know what? They put their bodies through a whole lot, and they do a great job of entertaining. But I wish I'd never thrown away my baseball glove again. When
I was looking up your career to get the years you played in Philly, it lists the games you play per season for every player. And for you, it was like 16, 16, 11, 14, 16, 13. You're missing 3 to 3.5 games a season. What all happened to you? What do your knees look like?
My knees are fine. I've had 2 total hip replacements. First concussion I ever had was in that Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, which
artificial turf.
Yeah, that artificial turf.
Yeah, cement. They just painted green.
Exactly. And it was, my knees. I feel my knees every now and then, but I went through a lot of years of problems with my hips. My back hurts. My body just hurts, but that's okay though. You know what? I look at it like, as long as I can get up, I'm okay.
Let's click it. Let's get young Maria off the screen. You and I will just whine about our 60-year-old bodies for a while.
We don't hear us whine anymore. Yeah, she's
Well, you know what? It is so much fun just to sit here and chat with you guys. And once sport starts up again, we're going to have to do this again so that we can talk about the guys that are out. Oh my God. Look at that. See?
The Mod Squad.
I think this is the most perfect. That's what we used to call ourselves. Mod Squad. It's the most perfect name ever. Which one do you think is Jerry? Which can you
I'm the one in the middle. Yeah, right.
You wish.
then we have this Mod Squad too. See, it's the.
I got that one somewhere. I have it framed.
I know. I love that picture. I love that picture. That was a good time in the life.
But you know what? The one thing that Jerry said the last time we were together was we just had so much fun, as we're doing now, because it is just so much fun to sit around and talk about sports, and that is what people like to watch.
Yeah.
They do.
I have found, I keep saying the same thing to people. I'm a great sport about the pandemic. We have it. It'll just stay inside. I'm playing by all the rules. I got in a little spat with a guy in a drugstore when he wouldn't give me the 6 feet. I asked for the 6 feet. He wouldn't give it to me. And we had some words. And I've been putting up with everything, and we're all doing it. But it's starting to get to me, some stuff. This time of year, I've already seen 30 baseball games, and I've seen 0. And I'm starting to get aware that my brain is I'm old. I have patterns. There's things I do. And I'm watching baseball this time of year. The weather tells me I should be watching baseball. And it's starting to wear on me. I can handle it. I'm not going to go into the bin or anything, but it's a deal. It is chipping away at my mental state a little. Like I wish they would start showing other seasons. I would pay for the FiOS package I have if they said, okay, we're gonna start showing you the 2011 season and run all the games every night.
They are showing some older games now. They are
the classics. I mean, you can watch a World Series game or a Super Bowl, but you can't just a stupid game between the Florida Marlins and the Kansas City Chiefs just at random. And I miss that. I like to turn on and watch the occasional game.
You know what? Especially like you were talking about this time of the year, it is really strange. Somebody will say, "Oh, do you watch this show or that show?" And I'm like, I'm supposed to be at a baseball game right now.
Yeah.
And then it's going to really be difficult for me. And maybe things will be different, but I love going to NFL training camp. I mean, I love it.
No, you do.
To not be at an NFL camp in August. I mean, I don't know. I might have some withdrawals.
And you know what? And I know how you feel about that camp, because we've had 5 Raider alumni weekends. We're going to miss out on the 6th one right here. And I look forward to it because that's the time I get to hang out with some of my teammates that I play with. And then I get to hang around some of those Raider legends, as I call them, those that were there before me, those I used to watch when I was a kid, them gold medal jacket, the gold jacket guys. You got.
By the way, you should have one of those gold jackets.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you very much. You know what? It was just nice being. I've been nominated a few times, and that was cool too. But to get a chance to see, like the Art Shells and Jim Otto and Ted Hendricks and Mike Haynes, and just a lot of great players, the ones I used to watch, and I'm going to miss that, so I know what you're saying. There's a clock that goes on. We all have that clock, and you know what? We all know what time of the year it is because our bodies tell us, okay, now it's this season, and we look forward to it. But you know what? We're going to all have to hang in there, and this too shall pass, as they say. We don't know when, but you know what? Just the best thing I could probably say is just stay safe and just do what you're supposed to do.
Stay safe, wash your hands, and watch Playing the Field. You can watch the show 24/7 at playingthefieldtv.com. You guys, thank you so much for being here today. I had a blast, and we got to do it again soon.
Well, I appreciate the reunion. It's a blast. Doug, take care of yourself, buddy.
You too, Jerry Robinson.
All right.